The year was 1865. The nation still reeled from the aftermath of the Civil War. Back east, towns were rebuilding, lives stitched back together from the blood and chaos of years gone by. But out west, the land remained wild, untamed, and brimming with opportunity for those brave enough to claim it. Rebecca and Matthew were among those dreamers. The Oregon Trail stretched before them, a ribbon of hope winding through endless plains and jagged mountains, far from the sorrow and devastation of the war. They believed they could face anything, until they reached a lonely trading post at dusk and everything changed. The post looked temporary, faded and gray with age, yet it had stood long enough to witness countless travelers pass through. A handful of settlers lingered outside, sizing the newcomers up. Nearby, the Cheyenne watched quietly from the shadows. Rebecca drew her shawl tighter around her shoulders. She knew little about the Cheyenne, only enough of the whispered stories to make her uneasy. Inside, the air was thick with smoke, suspicion, and quiet tension. Men leaned against the bar, their voices low and clipped. A harsh word, a suspicious glance, it all escalated too fast. Then came the unmistakable click of a rifle being cocked. "Get out of here!" Someone barked. A Cheyenne man stepped forward, hands raised in protest. But it was too late. The first shot rang out. Matthew lunged toward her, but before he could reach her, he crumpled to the floor, clutching his chest. "No!" Rebecca screamed, crawling to him through the hail of bullets. Her hands were slick with his blood, her mind clouded by panic. His eyes met hers for one agonizing heartbeat before closing forever. She couldn't stay not there, not in a place soaked with grief. She gathered what little she could carry and fled into the wilderness, the cold night pressing down on her like a lead blanket. Later, as they trudged through the dense woods, a new threat emerged, a massive bear, its eyes locked on them, muscles rippling with power. "Don't move," Hawkeye whispered. He notched an arrow with deadly precision. The bear growled, stepping closer. Rebecca gripped the knife he had given her, knowing it was no match for the beast. Hawkeye released the arrow. It struck the bear's shoulder. The creature roared in fury, charging. Hawkeye grabbed Rebecca, pulling her behind a tree. Another arrow found its mark, and the bear finally collapsed, its roar fading into the forest. Rebecca's knees buckled as adrenaline drained from her body. "Is this what life out here is like?" she whispered, voice shaky. Hawkeye's expression remained calm. Yes, days passed, and winter's chill grew harsher. Snow fell thickly, and the wind tore through the trees like knives. Hawkeye guided Rebecca to a cluster of trees and quickly began building a makeshift shelter. Hawkeye had spotted their tracks hours earlier, leading Rebecca deeper into the woods, but the men caught up. "Hand over what you've got," the leader sneered, his gun aimed at Hawkeye. Rebecca stepped forward, hands trembling. "We don't have anything worth taking," she said. The man laughed. "That's where you're wrong." The trail west was never easy. Dreams were tested. The land challenged those brave enough to cross it. For Rebecca, the journey wasn't about reaching a home. It was about discovering her own strength. Out in the wilderness, she had lost everything she thought she couldn't live without and gained something far greater: resilience, trust, and a bond that defied the world's expectations. Hawkeye wasn't meant to be an ally. Yet together they faced the unforgiving frontier, forging a connection built on survival and respect. Even in the harshest places, when the odds seem insurmountable, there is something inside us that refuses to give up, and sometimes it is the people we least expect who help us find it. With every step westward, Rebecca carried the lessons of snow, storms, and silence. The frontier was more than land or riches, it was a test of will. And those who dared to face it learned the greatest reward. They endured. They survived. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more.